It's what's called an open mold Chinese manufactured bike. So basically, one of these companies that are the big players put some time and money into making a mold. Over a certain amount of time, it becomes open. Then anybody can go in and try to use it. The mold is where all the money's at. Building a mold, building a mold is $1 million process.
I believe that, but I don't think these are open mold. I think they make their own.
No, this is an open mold. That's how this whole company works.
Ooh, it's actually lighter than I thought.
Like an old special.
But it's not. It's 17.8.
How much is your counter bike? 16.2. I thought it was 15. Oh, she's a turd. 18 pounds. Yeah. 19 pounds. What did you say?
17.8.
You want to guess?
69.
Up in there, Yolanda.
What is it?
18.7.
I'm going 19. Go big or go home.
Ooh, 18.8. That was half up.
I think Yolanda said 18.7.
I did.
Right on the money, Yolanda. Not bad.
cow,
That's our first winner ever.
What does he win?
High five.
You win a high five.
High five.
We're good for high five. Good job. What's up, everybody? It's Jeremy from Berkshire Bike and Board, and this is Sloan's Teddy. More on that in just a bit. What this actually is what's called an open mold bicycle. Now, is this a threat to the bike shop is the question I want to answer today. And at the end, I'll tell you where Sloan's Teddy actually comes from. Now, when I say to a threat to a bike shop, what do I mean by this? This is a full carbon, like 1,600 gram frame. And for the frame, the fork, the handlebars, stem, the headset, and the seat post, you can get all that on the internet for about $1,000. These wheels, front and rear, you can get those for about $500. Now, that comes with some strings attached. You know, a normal set of carbon wheels is $1,000 to $1,500, and you get a manufacturer's warranty, and you get a person on the phone when you call customer support. If you buy a set of wheels like that from the bike shop, you get support from the bike shop, and it's a little bit of a different model than something like this. This bike is for nerds, and I say that with a smile on my face because I'm jealous of this type of skill set. It's not me for sure, but it's really cool. It's just another leg or arm in that world of quirky bicycle characters that are able to do really interesting stuff on their own. It's just a different aspect of cycling that I'm not interested in, but I think is interesting. So, what's an open mold frame? Let's answer that question first. So an open mold frame is basically like, you know, a massive cost of the bicycle or the cost to manufacture a bicycle is the actual mold that the manufacturing company basically uses to lay the carbon up in the mold. You know, I don't know exactly how much those cost, but I know it's a significant upfront cost. And you know, the company like licenses that mold for 3 years or for a year or two when they're making that frame set. When they change the frame set, they get new molds. At that point, generally, that mold becomes an open mold frame. And you know, the manufacturing company in China next door to the one that had that actually manufactured it grabs the mold, and then they make open mold frames. So they're basically brandless. A lot of times, a lot of the like behind the scenes details that you can't exactly see that goes into the building of the frame, like the layup of the carbon, things like, you know, fit and finish stuff like that aren't always quite there, but this particular one, Light Carbon is the manufacturer. You can get them off websites like AliExpress and deep in the troves of like internet forums and emojis and all that stuff that I don't know anything about, but you can find them. And if you can do the research on your own, you can figure it all out and you can piece it together, which is not easy to do and takes a skill set. You can show up to a group ride on a $1,500 for a frame and the wheel set, and none of us here will make fun of you. Actually, contrary to that, we'll be very impressed. This particular example is a really good example of it. When I saw it on the group ride the other day, I was like, gotta do a quick bike check on that bike. A couple other things about the bike that are pretty interesting is like, you know, this is like a, call it knockoff 3D printed saddle. You know, I don't even know what knockoff is or isn't these days because everything's being imported anyways. But yeah, it's been built up with a SRAM Red group set. It's a little over 18 pounds. Like, it's really no slouch of a bicycle at all. Tubeless carbon wheels. The gentleman who rides this bike is not a small dude. He's had no issues riding it all season. There's no cracks on it. You know, where the downfall is you buy this bike and if you crack the frame, you're done. You got to get a new frame. It's a different buying process. You're on the internet, you're scouring forums, you're doing a lot of research. and you place this order for a frame, and then you cross your fingers and hope that 2 or 3 months later it shows up at your doorstep. Sites like AliExpress, stuff like that, Alibaba, that's where you get this kind of stuff from. But it's pretty awesome. I think this particular rider did an amazing job. I will post a few FAQs on the website with the rider about how the process went, but I wanted to just shine a little light on it because I thought it was a pretty fascinating bike. And my personal favorite part about this bike is how it says Sloan's Teddy on the side. Now, what is Sloan's Teddy? Well, back up a tiny little bit. Another cool part about this custom build process is they come as blanks. Like, there's no paint on them. They come matte black. But you can choose to send them a design and they'll actually paint the bike for you. There's a couple little like fit and finish details where, like, most manufacturers will like lay a second coat of paint or a decal, they'll clear coat over it. This one feels like it's just almost like a sticker or just another layer of paint on top. It's not been clear coated. But all in all, like, the quality of the paint is really good. The lines are smooth. There's no like chipping or fraying. It came out nice. I don't exactly know the details, but as far as Sloan's Teddy and then like CHOHO, that's the molecule for sugar. I think there was some inspiration there of like, we all consume a lot of just like raw sugar on our bike rides basically to propel us moving forward. In addition to that, there's the Sloan's Teddy reference. And rather than try and explain the long story of what Sloan's Teddy is and what it means, I'm gonna read it to you because it's a funny joke. Again, the nerd factor, right? Isaac Asimov wrote this in his book. I forget the name of it. He's a science fiction author. And guys that are into science fiction are also into custom open mold blank bikes from China. So it all makes sense. The paragraph reads like this. As is well known in this 30th century of ours, space travel is fearfully dull and time consuming. In search of diversion, many crew members defy the quarantine restrictions and pick up pets from the various habitable worlds they explore. Jim Sloan had a rocket, which he called Teddy. It just sat there, looking like a rock, but sometimes it lifted a lower edge and sucked in some powdered sugar. That was all it ate. No one ever saw it move, but every once in a while, it wasn't quite where people thought it was. There was a theory that it moved when no one was looking. Bob Laverty had a Healy worm he called Dolly. It was green and carried on photosynthesis. Sometimes it moved to get into better light, and when it did so, it coiled its worm-like body and inched along very slowly like a turning helix. One day, Jim Sloan challenged Bob Laverty to a race. My Teddy, he said, can beat your Dolly. Your Teddy, scoffed Laverty, doesn't move. Bet, said Sloan. The whole crew got into the act. Even the captain risked half a credit. Everyone bet on Dolly. At least she moved. Jim Sloan covered it all. He had been saving his salary through 3 trips, and he put every millicredit of it on Teddy. The race started at one end of the Grand Salon. At the other end, a heap of sugar had been placed for Teddy and a spotlight for Dolly. Dolly formed a coil at once and began to spiral its way very slowly toward the light. The watching crew cheered it on. Teddy just sat there without budging. Sugar, Teddy, sugar, said Sloan, pointing. Teddy did not move. It looked more like a rock than ever, but Sloan did not seem concerned. Finally, when Dolly had spiraled halfway across the salon, Jim Sloan said casually to his rocket, "If you don't get out of there, Teddy, I'm gonna hammer and chip you into pebbles." That was when people first discovered that rockets could read minds. That was also when people first discovered that rockets could teleport. Sloan had no sooner made his threat when Teddy simply disappeared from his place and reappeared on top of the sugar. Sloan won, of course, and he counted his winnings slowly and luxuriously. Laverty said bitterly, "You knew the damn thing could teleport." "No, I didn't," said Sloan, "but I knew he could win. It was a sure thing." "How come?" It's an old saying, everyone knows. Sloan's Teddy wins the race. And with that said, like I always say, round up for distance, round down for time. Thanks for watching.